Welcome to the Live Full, Work Fun podcast. This is the show to encourage you to live your life to the fullest and do fun work that fuels your lifestyle. Hi, I'm your host, Gayla Scrivener. Every week, you'll be introduced to amazing guests, useful resources, and inspirational stories. You'll discover opportunities and perspectives to shape your version of living full and working fun. Hi there and welcome. This is the show where we explore topics that help you create your lifestyle to live full and work fun. I'm Gayla Scrivener, joined by my co-host, Fran Groesbeck. Hi, Fran.
Hey, Gayla.
Oh my goodness. I am super excited and kind of nervous about talking about today's topic. Today is talking about busyness is not a badge of honor. And we were talking about this a few weeks ago because it was an article that you had come across. Can you talk about that just a little bit?
I can. The article was found in the Harvard Business Review last year. I was online at the store, and I do not buy magazines, but this one caught my eye. And the cover and the contents were all about this topic of busyness and the epidemic it has become. That article, I still have the printed copy. I saved it. It really resonated with me. And we've talked about this before, breaking corporate mindset, breaking corporate culture. It really is something, it's not just our generation, it's generations. And we still teach it in schools. We still teach it in sports. If you have ever, I was at the point recently where we're taking my children on college tours, and you'll get these amazing college ambassadors who their resume that they give you is meant to impress you. But my first thought was, when did these girls get to sleep? No joke. Like, when are you actually taking care of yourself? Because I'm in this club, and I'm this major, and I'm a double major, and I'm a minor, and I run this group, and I started this, and we teach that you're supposed to not have a free minute. And this article was the real first step that I saw this word, that busyness is not a badge of honor. And the studies and the things that they discuss in this and the proof of where we went wrong with this concept. And there's a few, I think, badges of honor we have to change, which ties to busyness, multitasking. They're all myths. Having a full packed calendar. It's like, right in the beginning of the article, they talk about the word effort justification. It's like our way of being busy. It's like proving our value, our worth or something. And it's so untrue. And it also was the moment when I switched to slow is smooth and smooth is fast. This article helped me realize how I wanted my team to operate and how I wanted to operate going forward.
I love that. I'm glad I'll have the link in the show notes to the original article. The article title is Beware of a Culture of Busyness. And it really hit me hard because I'm thinking I'm a recovery busyness addict but over the last, I would say 5 years, I think I'm a lot better than I used to be. And I have this calmness about me. Whereas in the past, it was more of a hurry, got to get a whole bunch of things done. I got to do multiple things all at once. I've gotten into that slow is steady. What is your?
A slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
Yes. So, but I still struggle with it. It seems like our kids are overextended. Little kids in Little League and then every single sport imaginable and running around after school. And these young children can't just be kids and hang out. Do not learn to be bored. I think that, we've got in our vehicles. When I was a kid, we did not have video games in the car or TV in the car or anything in the car. We had to just sit and be still and let our minds, do the imagination and think and have that empty space. And we're taught that we have to be doing something at every moment in time. That went into my adulthood and in work, but a corporate life, you're supposed to be busy all the time. And if I'm not busy doing something for work, to me, that has been traditionally tied to my self worth. Am I, am I worthy? Am I confident in all of the things, right? If I'm not continually having too much work to do and trying to hurriedly do it.
Gayla, I think you touched on a key point is this is something we're taught very young. I think it's in all messages that we receive from all parts. And, they talk these in the article, it kind of everything, it's a Harvard Business Review. So it's talking about business. But this one sentence made me think of the whole thing. It says, once a culture of busyness is established, it tends to persist unchallenged. That's life. That's what we've grown up with. You're so right. I think of my own daughter, who is now a music major in college. When she was younger, I did what moms do: signed her up for soccer, signed her up for track, did all these things. And she somehow had the strength to come to me one day and say, Mom, these things aren't for me. Luckily, someone was watching over me, and I said, absolutely, follow your heart, do what you want. When she left the sports, she found her music people. She found her theater people. She found her thing, her everything. And the busyness that she ended up having in her life was something she loved. It brought her joy. And she found these friends and community. And, so there was more balanced busyness for her. But you're right. The other side of busyness, which you touch on, busyness, if you're raised in this culture of busyness, you're taught that silence and pauses and breaks are wrong. You can't stop. You got to keep going. And one of the things we do in 10 Touch is we have these timers that we give to our clients on their desk. The to-do timer, everybody gets, not a problem. The break, I call it my break cube, and it has 1, 3, 5, and 10 minutes. It is so hard to get people raised in a culture of busyness to even take a 1-minute break. It feels like you feel like your world is ending when you first try it. We have to break this. We have to really all make an effort to break this mindset of busyness, because it destroys productivity. It impacts teams, mindset, creativity. The list goes on and on.
Well, one thing that was mentioned in the article that really struck me, it said, work, not leisure, is a signifier of social status. And the article goes on to say, it's like, hey, when you ask people 9 times out of 10, how are you doing? 9 times out of 10, people are saying, I'm busy. I'll get busy. And even a foreigner, there was an example of a foreigner come to this country and thinking that busy meant good. So it's not. But in my little world, I am seeing a shift of the social status, because I follow folks that are like Robert and I, that like to overland, that we like to have some nomadic travel, not have a particular, go on vacation for 2 weeks and then back in. It's like, hey, let's just have our work and living space be fluid. So we follow folks on their journey and see that side of them. Well, they're earning a living too, but we aspire to be on the road more and more. So we're seeing that picture of them. And I think that when we think of busyness, there's stuff at work that we need to do. There's stuff leisurely that we need to do, all for our sanity and all for our living full and working fun, right? Everything as a whole. But we see certain pieces of people and we think that that is 24/7. So I think we see, and like going back in my corporate life, I see that when you're there, you're clocked in, it's run, 24/7, do all of this stuff, do all the things. and be busy. Because if you're not busy, then you're not a good worker.
Isn't that how our review system, when you work for a corporate culture, our reviews that we get, right? It's how much can you pack into the list of what you've done. Notice that word. What are you doing? What have you done? Not what have you accomplished? What have you finished? What have you, it's how big of a list can you make so that you can prove your worth? That has been a big shift for me too. It's about shifting from rewarding activity lists to output lists. What are they actually putting out? And also tying into what we talk about, it's all personal. We're all people, right? You can't look at a group of employees and expect them all to be the same. I'm a big lover of Strengths Finder from Gallup. Understanding which each team member's strengths are, and then working with those strengths, and then applying this principle of busyness and removing it and focusing on output, you end up doing and achieving what you were hoping to do with busyness by this simplified, focused approach. I think the problem with corporate culture and I hate to keep targeting it, but culture in general around busyness is we were trying to find quick, blanket, generalized ways to deal with growing teams and growing our companies. And we forgot about it's all personal, that we're dealing with individuals, and taking a moment to go slow and make sure each individual is properly motivated and properly given the right tasks that work with their strengths. You're going to get better output. You're going to get more. In fact, just to clarify, what slow is smooth and smooth is fast is saying is if you go slow, you're knocking out the task at hand, you're going to make less mistakes, or you're going to see things you need to address and you're going to address them, and you're going to move through that project and get it done actually sooner than if you would have rushed or tried to do 4 projects at once because you focused on it. It's just a lot of what we're capable as human beings to do. If you try to focus on 4 things, then each thing's going to get 25% of your time. You focus on one thing.
Not even that, because
not even
you've got switch time.
Yeah. So it's focusing on output and not just activity is really important in this.
Well, let's dive into that a little bit more on output and input and how we judge on that. Coming from a corporate culture and then growing a business of my own, I wanted to do things differently. I wanted to have the culture of Scrivener Solutions as our team and working with our clients different than what my past corporate culture was. And part of the past was very much busyness driven. How many tasks did you do? And a lot of meetings and you never had the time to actually do. And there was a lot of bureaucracy and a lot of talk and a lot of less doing. And there was the concept of deep work in the article, but I kind of stray. Let's go back to all the busyness. Well, then on one side, me providing services for others, I want them to be able to trust that I could do the job at hand that they're paying me to do. But what I do for folks is not a clock in and a clock out type thing. I started my business as a per hour thing because that's where the culture was and what I was used to. Any type of administrative work, it's a per hour type of thing. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But I could not get out of that mindset. If I got more efficient about it, then I got paid less. And then if I was learning something and it took me longer, to me, it didn't seem as fair to that person. And there's always this distrust. Are they really being efficient and clocking in on the time, And honestly, when I was back in the corporate world, working from home I struggled with trusting the person that was working remotely. Are they really doing what they should be doing. I was in this mindset, so focused on time. Am I getting every single thing out of time? And then I came to the realization, and the more that I was owning my business and I studied about pricing and learning about value-based pricing and things like that, it's like I shifted from a per hour to more of a flat rate type of thing, and on an ongoing basis, depending on the volume of things. And then we reevaluate. It's not an exact science, but there has to be an element of time and an element of what comes out of it. And I don't know about you, but I think about my clients, and I'm not on a clock. I think about my clients when I'm riding my bike, when I'm taking a shower. I mean, all these ideas come because I'm doing a lot of heavy lifting of problem solving. We're paying somebody else to solve a problem, right? When we hire somebody, that's not necessarily on the clock. And when we're trying to solve, there's that heavy thinking. Somebody else is thinking about your business. But here's the thing. When we're the person that we're delegating something, we're paying somebody else to do something for us, we have all these fears. Do they even think about our business as much as I do? Well, no, but they're thinking about it. And when they have this openness of being able, this freedom of being able to problem solve on your behalf, that is really a good thing. Now, I'm not going to say that compensation for employees should never be a per hour thing or always be a salary thing. I mean, the time component, the focus time, and the outputs, there's got to be a blend, and there's no perfect formula. And every business is a little bit different. But what I wanted to do was create an atmosphere where my employees work fun. I can depend on them on helping me solve problems. They are the controller of their clock, which is hard. I do not want to be in control and micromanage when they do their focus time. I ask them to have a little bit of a consistent schedule, but that can go a long way. That can go up and down or whatever. But we have built trust within our group of, I trust you to do this. You're going to be there when I need you, and I'm going to be there when you need me. And that's a big thing. And just having that communication. But I wanted to create an atmosphere where I didn't care if they quote unquote, clocked in at 8:00 and left at 5 and didn't break for lunch. No, I don't want that. I want them to have breaks. I want them to be able to spend time with their family, with other things that is important to them. They can be responsible for their own time. What a big stressor for me to be over that time and say, oh, you're 10 minutes late for clocking in. I'm going to give you a tardy notice. Now, granted, our business is not something that like it has a cash register and you need to fill different things. But there's just different levels of trust that you can instill to give that employee autonomy. And clients not working with subcontractors or contractors, they're part of your team, or just being able to show that value and not only think, okay, how busy are you?
Gayla, you touched on what you wanted to create with your team and your clients, this idea of working fun. It's the same thing for it's all personal. It came from wanting, and the article says these words, and I loved this summary because it helped me find my words behind it's all personal. Value well-being over busyness. Value well-being, period. That is the culture I wanted to create. I tell all my employees, health and family first. We can do all the planning we want, all the time mapping we want. Things happen, life happens. I wanted to create a culture where something happens, your pet gets sick, your mom needs your help, something happens. We have this flexibility. And I love what you said. If that means you're not clocking in at the original time you thought, or you're only going to do a couple hours during the day and you're going to do the rest of the work at night to accommodate the shift. I wanted that kind of life flexibility because I don't want to live, nor do I want the people working for me to live where work is life. We do not work to live. We don't live to work. Whatever that saying is, I don't want work to be the center of our lives. Like everything else in our life, it should enhance. It should bring us joy. It should lift us up. It should be something we look forward to. I can't wait to get to my desk every day. And on the hard days, we give ourselves the permission to have no busyness. On the hard days, some things happen. We're allowed to say, okay, today I am not going to be as productive as I thought. It's a hard day. And I'm going to give myself the right to do that. And I show up so much better the next day. So this idea of value and well-being that they mentioned is really, I think, at the core of eliminating and eradicating this idea of busyness.
Well, the busyness is tied to work. And like I said at the very beginning, I'm a recovering busyness addict, I guess, because part of my self-worth is tied a lot to my work. And that went back into my corporate life. And it was just like I needed to work 50, 60, 70 hours just to get ahead. And was I getting paid for all of those hours? No. Was I letting family sacrifice? Yes. Was that the right thing for me to do? I don't think so, looking back. But that's what I did. And so then transitioning from the corporate world to a different phase in my life of creating this different lifestyle, when I didn't have this busyness attacking me, and I seemed to have some of this leisure, it's like maybe I should be working on my business. I'm not putting in 50, 60, 70, 80 hours on my business. Of course, focused effort is going to get you different results, but you can't focus that much effort in deep quality work. Once it gets beyond, there's like a rate of diminishing returns, right? When you work so much on your business, and then you're just working just to be working, beyond that, you're not being really productive. You're not doing the deep work. You're not doing and making progress. What you're doing is burning out.
And leisure can actually inspire some of the best deep work you'll ever do.
Exactly.
2 years ago, I took myself away on a little retreat. I was burnt out. Spent just 4 days in upstate New York at this beautiful inn overlooking a beautiful lake. And on day 3, I wrote for 8 hours. And it's the program I'm launching right now. It just flowed out of me. The first 2 days of just walking around and hiking and doing things for myself unleashed this creativity that I, at the time, didn't fully understand. And then I realized after that trip, that's the real side effect of busyness is burnout. And this idea of finding balance with it and refreshing ourselves and not seeing leisure as a bad thing. we have it reversed. We have busyness on a pedestal and we have leisure and taking care of ourselves like on the bottom of the list. We need to switch that. Some of the best work we'll ever do for ourselves and our businesses come in those moments.
And I don't think it's wise to only have like a 2-week vacation once a year. Mm-hmm. That's not where you should have it. That's why I wanted to create this work from anywhere lifestyle. It kind of forces me, if we're living small and we're out on the road, it kind of forces me to live and work differently. And over the years, we've been doing this for more than 8 years now. Living small and have nomadic travel stints, every time it gets different and better. And I'll tell you, the first few times, my gosh, the struggle was real. I mean, it was, there was a lot of guilt. There was a lot of struggle about, oh my gosh, I've got to be on this call. I mean, I didn't have control of my schedule as much, you know, and I made decisions that made things easier and made things to where it flows better for me. And also learning a lot about myself and when are the peak opportunity moments to do that deep work. Like I'm a morning person, and like yesterday I got up really early and I was just inspired to write, and I did several hours of work before noon. And when noon hit, I was like, well, I'm spent. I mean, I didn't really do quote unquote 8 hours of work, but by noon, I was like, I'm going to do other things and remove myself of that. Now, I will admit, I get these tinges like, okay, I should be sitting out. It's still traditional office hours. I should be sitting at my desk and doing such and such. I've got this to do. I've got that to do. My husband, Robert, always says there's always going to be work to do. There is always going to be work to do. We can always find something to do. We just need to prioritize and recharge. You've spoken a lot in past episodes about recharging our batteries.
How do
And
we how do we keep going if we don't?
yeah, being okay with that and that leisure time balanced with work time. And we do need to have a balance. And just recognize that there's still this culture that busyness is a badge of honor, right? Busyness, we need to overcome, and sometimes we need to help those along that we work with or that work with us, help them along to reassure them that, hey, just don't judge other people because you may perceive that somebody's lazy or not as busy as you are. That's you just don't know everything that's going on. So we shouldn't be comparing ourselves and saying, okay, they're really, really busy, so I need to be really, really busy, or vice versa. I'm really, really busy. They aren't as busy as I am, so they must be less. We don't know everything on that. So the comparison should be out there, but it is a difficult thing to measure when you're a business owner working with employees or other contractors, or you're a business owner and you're working with clients to kind of balance out the time aspect and the output aspect. And it's a tough thing, but if you experiment, life's an experiment. Life's an adventurous experiment. So try different things and just be open and genuine. And life, well-being is first. Well-being is first.
It is absolutely the priority we need to put first on everything we do. And what we're doing here, Gayla, is the first step in fixing anything is awareness. We're both very aware now that this is something we want to fix, make better. I think we've already started taking steps in having our own businesses was the first step, but this eliminating busyness and now having a new perspective with teams and really amplifying what we've done and putting this focus on achievement and well-being, it'll just start to grow from here. And I think that's the first step with any change.
And I think that, we all need to earn a living, have purposeful work, no matter what it is, what work that brings us joy and helps other people to earn us a living, to have a fulfilled life. And there's many, many aspects to that. And sometimes in different phases of our life, we need to prioritize things differently. Sometimes when we are going through something big, something heavy, I'll just say when I was going through my divorce, I really, really threw myself into work. It was to compartmentalize the emotions, right? And so I could turn off some of the hurt emotions for a little while so that I could deal with them. Just like in work, sometimes you might need a little bit of busy work once in a while so that you can have breakthrough on other things. So there is a lot to do with balance and priorities. Just know that you can't all the time be in deep work. You can't all the time be in leisure. You can't all the time just be doing busy work. But I feel like we can achieve a calmness about us overall. There's going to be days. There's just going to be days. But if we can have this calmness that we're walking one step at a time, work is always going to be there, and to prioritize what's important to get us to whatever we want to achieve faster. Do you have any last words, Miss Fran, on busyness?
I'd love to close with the quote they actually say towards the end of the article, which is from a famous basketball coach, John Wooden. And he said, never mistake activity for achievement. And that's really the summary for me on this, is make sure that you're focused on activity, model the right behavior in your business, and find that balance. Find that balance. And it's not going to be fixed overnight. Just take your first step today.
And you know what? I don't know if it'll ever be fixed. Our journey is an ever changing and ever working on. And I think that these reminders help us be aware. So when things are disruptive in our lives, we can come back to and find that balance that helps us and helps us live that full life that we all want. And whatever the definition of what that full life is, all these experiences that we have. But I would love to hear what you, who's listening, what your thoughts are. Hop over to Facebook and join us in the conversation on the Live Full Work Fun Facebook group. It's a private group, so just ask to come in and share your thoughts. Again, in the show notes, I'm going to have a link to the original article, and I appreciate the author of the article for diving into this subject. And this is something that we should be thinking of on an ongoing basis. So until next time, have a fantastic week. Live full, work fun. This episode has been brought to you by Scrivener Social, the easy-to-use social scheduling platform built for the busy solopreneur. You deserve a system that makes posting to your social media faster and more efficient. Go to scrivenersocial.com and subscribe today.